Today we're talking all things physical therapy transitioning to an online maintenance program and the best way to go about that. So I'm super excited to dive in on this topic, and I hope you are too. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Taking a minute to thank our sponsor. The sponsor for this episode is JaneApp. You may be familiar with Jane. Of course, you're familiar with Jane because I talk about them all the time. They're an all-in-one practice management software, making it easy to book, chart, and bill all online. They also offer a fully integrated PCI-compliant payment solution called Jane Payments, which is designed to manage all of your payment needs. The team at Jane knows that they play an important role in protecting your data, and that's not just your client health records, but also credit card information. Jane Payments is PCI compliant, which helps your business keep your client billing information safe and secure. If you're curious to learn more about PCI compliance with Jane Payments or want to book a one-on-one demo with a member of their team, head to jane.app/payments. Again, that's jane.app/payments. You can also mention the show Up in My Business for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. You can also use the code LEX1MO, so LEX1MO, for your first month of Jane free. Welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I'm super pumped to be recording this one. This one is one I've wanted to do for quite some time. You know how I like to essentially start off this episode with a little bit of a life update. I'm not going to do that today because I am pre-recording this episode before I go to California, and what I have going on has not changed since I recorded the last episode. So I am going to drop the waitlist for the joint offer that Shantae and I are doing together for brick-and-mortar business owners, because if you're listening to this and you're a brick-and-mortar business owner and you want to transition to more online offerings or launch an online course, launch an online anything, we've got you covered. We're starting to build that wait list for a program that will help you do just that. We're going to take all of the planning and all of the strategy and then mix it with the tech and implementation piece, and it's going to be bomb. So if you're interested in that, make sure you sign up on the wait list. Other than that, I am just going to jump right into today's topic. So I wanted to talk about taking a physical therapy patient, client, whatever you call them, in your clinic, and then working with them throughout physical therapy, getting them, let's just say it back to wellness level or a little bit above, however you want to phrase that, and then moving into what we call performance care and then doing distance management and programming, if you will. So a lot of people have asked me, one, what practice management software do you use? We all know that I use Jane at this point. Jane sponsors this podcast. I love Jane. We actually used a different software prior, but Jane is the one. I literally would not recommend anything else. So we use Jane. And within Jane, they do have a built-in exercise management platform, which is called PhysiTrack. But for this purpose, I am going to say we don't use it. And I'm going to explain why we don't use it. I'm not going to say that it's a bad software. I'm just saying that for our business, we did a lot of critical thinking about what we needed and what we wanted. And what we decided was that this other software, TrueCoach, is going to work much better for our business. So with that being said, what we're talking about today is how you use JaneApp and TrueCoach to make your client experience super seamless and super easy. And if you're thinking, Lex, this is going to be like a 2-second episode, you're kind of right. It's not going to be a long one because I'm going to tell you what we do and how we do it and the little things that we implement in our clinic along the way to, make this super seamless, and we'll go from there. So first things first, JaneApp. So when someone becomes a patient in your clinic, you can use Jane to manage them as a physical therapy patient, write their notes, all the things like normal. So Jane is used as that EMR software, writing the notes, taking payment, all the stuff. Now, within Jane, let's talk about that in a second, actually. So that you manage them in Jane just like normal. Now, when you give them exercises to go home with, what I would say is that instead of using the PhysiTrack software, we use TrueCoach. So the reason we do this is we take all of their home exercises. We have personalized videos for them that we record. So each person gets a personalized video. And with that being said, that gets uploaded into their personal program. They have a TrueCoach login, all the things. So patients get used to using the TrueCoach platform to do their exercises on. So throughout their physical therapy plan of care, they are using TrueCoach just like someone would use TrueCoach as a distance programming option. As they transition to the end part of their care, so we talk about, the phases of care, we get them out of pain, we get them feeling better, right? We get them back to or a little bit above where they were prior. So after they are at the end of their package or at the end of their care, we talk to them about how we have this program. Renegade calls it Renegade RX. And we have this program where they can transition from physical therapy to performance care, and they can essentially get managed virtually by a physical therapist. So then it becomes programming. The cool thing is that nothing changes. So they're already on TrueCoach. They get different programming because it's going to be individualized, but the physical therapist that they're working with will know exactly how they have to alter their programming for that patient and what they need to give to them. And the patient is already familiar with TrueCoach. So essentially it becomes this seamless transition where patients go from being a patient client to being a distance management client. Now, this is great because it allows you to accomplish a couple different things. The first thing is that it allows you to accomplish the continuation of care. So someone comes to you because they got hurt working out or they got hurt at a fitness class. You then get to be the person who's training them and giving them those supplemental exercises, right? Instead of having them go and find a random exercise program to follow. The other thing that's really great is that you're able to take their issues, if you will, quote unquote. I put that in quotes because I don't like saying that, but what they came to see you for, you can take that into account and their individual stuff into account when you build out this program. And people love that. They love that. They love the fact that they already trust you. They know, like, and trust you as their physical therapist, and they want you to then continue giving them all of this programming, all of this exercise guidance after they're done working with you formally in physical therapy. And if you think about that, why wouldn't we want that, right? Why wouldn't we want that? So when we use Jane and TrueCoach together, it creates a seamless system where patients essentially go from being that patient-client relationship to being patient-client relationship, but also now they're just a training client that they can manage distance, so manage digitally. Now, this creates another, I don't want to say it's a stream of income. It kind of is. It's another stream of income because now you have these distance management clients on top of typical patients, right? So you also have to think about the fact that this is going to create a different time demand. So when you start doing this, you have to then put time in your schedule to manage these patients. So sometimes people will take a day off and do an online day. They'll add a day of work if they want to work on a Saturday to program or whatever it may be. But you have to think about the time that you're also going to have to spend programming for these people. So we do weekly programming. It changes weekly. It's all customized, so it's not like a template. But if you are someone who has templates, it's just going to be easier for you because it's already half done, and you can just plug that template in. So once again, using JaneApp and TrueCoach for that seamless client transition. Now, let's talk about how we manage the money side. So it's all in Jane because Jane obviously handles the appointments, right? But then when patients opt in to continue that training program, they do a monthly membership, and that's all through Jane. So Jane has the monthly membership option. They sign up, they pay, it's on an auto renewal, and then those people are then on that continuation program through Jane. So we don't have to handle payment each month. It automatically happens, and it just makes it super, super easy. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I have a lot of people ask me, well, how do I transition? Like, what would that look like if I transitioned from physical therapy to performance care? And realistically, if you're in that performance realm, it really looks no different anyway. But management-wise, this is how you can start to then transition to some more online options, right? So you're going from being a brick-and-mortar in-person to having an online option of care. And I have people who, will also say, oh, you can opt into the online programming option and then you'll have one visit in person a month. Like, you can literally structure this however you want. But as far as the management piece and making it easy for the client, because we all know how important that is, it has to be easy for the client. In order to make it easy for the client, you need to make the systems make sense, and don't add things if you don't need to add things. So TrueCoach is expensive. Yes, it is. It is expensive. We pay a lot of money for it. But in the same respect, it saves us so much time because we don't need to have multiple softwares and we have all of our exercises in one place. It just makes it easy. So ease is definitely, you pay for ease and it makes sense. And we also pay for the fact that they already have access to TrueCoach, so we don't have to give them access to another thing. They don't have to manage another app. There's nothing that makes it more difficult for them. So having that JaneApp TrueCoach integration, I say integration, I shouldn't say that. Just JaneApp being used with TrueCoach because it doesn't talk to each other. We know this. But being able to use them together in your practice really does give you the opportunity to say, cool, I have a physical therapy client who is finishing up PT, and I'm going to then recommend that they hang out with me. We're going to do performance care now. It's going to be managed however you want to manage it, but we're going to do programming through the TrueCoach app. You already know what TrueCoach is. You already know how to use it. This is going to be simple. So realistically, that's all I had to tell you in this episode. My opinion on programs to use and why to use it. TrueCoach is the best programming app from client side. I understand there's some caveats with Droid, and there's some caveats being the actual person is programming for the people. I know it's not like 110% amazing, but it is the best for what we use it for. And then Jane is obviously the best EMR. And when you pair them together, you end up saving yourself a ton of time and you end up having a great patient buy-in and outcome with it because they don't have to, mess around with different softwares as they're working with you. Now, one last thing I want to say to you before I hop off is in order to make this something that is easy to implement in your practice, the best thing you can do is have a welcome packet for your clinic. You can just say, hey, thanks for becoming a new patient. Here's the lowdown. You go through your process in that welcome packet. You go through the apps that they have to download. You go through how they do online booking. You go through all of this stuff. And you also put in there, hey, guess what? We also have this option. Once you're done in physical therapy, there's this option for you that you can then go do, or we can help you transition to, that will keep you, most likely injury free, right? And you can continue working with your physical therapist to X, Y, and Z. And you put that all in a welcome packet and you give them that on their first visit. And you say, hey, look, this is our process here. And you walk them through, you actually point them through the welcome packet and bring them through it. That way they know, cool, I'm on this app. I know there's an option where I can continue to do this, or I can be done. And that's that. So welcome packet, JaneApp, TrueCoach. That's the lowdown. Now, this episode was super, super short, mostly because I didn't have like a big old background for you. But also, I love the fact that I can make these short for you and you can be done with it in, 15 minutes. So with that being said, next week, I'm going to have an episode that breaks down lots of personal life updates for sure. And then we're going to figure out, I have a couple topics in mind, and I'm also taking topic recommendations on Instagram still. I have a bunch of people that DM'd me, so going to sort through those and see where we can go with them. But this was one that had come up multiple times in coaching calls, so I wanted to make sure I addressed it. And that's all I got for you. So please drop into my inbox, drop into my DMs on Instagram and let me know what you want to hear, because I'm more than happy to record something for you. Thank you so much for listening. It obviously means the world to me. Celebrated 1,000 downloads a couple weeks ago, and it felt really cool to know that I already hit 1,000 so fast, and just obviously super, super grateful for that. So I think that's all I got. Just looking at my list, making sure I checked all the boxes. And yeah, so all I got. I will talk to you next week. I really, really appreciate you being here. I will catch you next time.